Welcome to our last webinar of 2019. I cannot believe we are here already. The year went by incredibly fast for us, and I'm sure for many of you. So we're going to be talking today about what our team sees as the biggest trends and what we think will actually turn into strategies for firms to grow in the coming year and beyond. And marketing is really moving at a very quick pace, but in the financial advisory space, a lot of firms are really lagging and behind still. So they are a few years behind. And what we're seeing is things that are adopted by other industries take a little bit longer to get picked up in our space. So we want to get y'all up to speed. We want to get people using the best tools possible, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Just a few housekeeping things, because so many of you do ask. Yes, we record the webinar, and yes, we will send it to you along with all of the slides. So if you get distracted or need to do something, you'll have all of this information. Additionally, if you haven't already, please connect with 20 over 10 on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Those are my particular Twitter handles and LinkedIn pages. I love connecting with all of you and seeing what you're posting. And if you are here right now and I've ever commented, liked, or shared something that you've posted, maybe raise your hand so people can see, because I try so hard to do that for any of the 20 over 10 advisors that I see posting things, because I want to, get your content more visible as well. Great. I saw about 5 or 6 hands. So there's a lot of you that probably still do need to connect with me. If you go to LinkedIn, it's just Samantha C. Russell. And then, of course, you can also search for 20 over 10's page here as well and connect with them. Business. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will see those. Uh-oh, the audio is down. Okay, let me try something else. Okay, is that better? Can everyone hear me? I'm so sorry, everybody. The beauty of working from the road. Can everyone hear me again? I'm hoping that the sound came back through and that you can all hear me loud and clear again.
Yep, I think you're good, Sam.
Sorry about that, everyone. Oh, okay. I am in, my main office is in Pennsylvania, but I am on the road this week. I'm in Ohio, and the space that I was supposed to be working from, they had a leak, and so now I'm in a co-working space, and so we're making do. But anyways, let's dive right into the presentation and get going. So this is what we're going to discuss today. We are going to talk about the top trends that our team sees in marketing. So those are personalization, online reviews, marketing automation, social media. We have a few trends there, video marketing, and retargeting. So in the chat box right now, so that everyone can see, maybe just type what you're most interested of these to learn about. I'd be really interested to see what is on people's minds. For some of these, you might not know what it is, and that's okay. But if there's one that you've been thinking about, utilizing in your own practice that you'd love to hear about the most, let us know, and I'd love to see what you guys have to say. So I'm going to jump right in. The first one is personalization. So number one, hyper-personalized messaging will be the only way to cut through the noise in the coming years. And that's because most businesses have gotten hip to the fact that they need to be creating content, that they have to be on social media. So we have all of these people putting out all of this information. And so any kind of generalized, corporate-y, boring messages just don't get seen by anyone. I always say, is it better to blog daily, weekly, or monthly? Don't think of it that way. Think, is it better to create one blog post that's going to be hyper specific to your audience that takes you longer to create and do that once a month, or blog every day and have it be super generic, you're repurposing content you're buying, you're not making it, specific to your audience, it's always going to be the former. So less is more as long as you can make it hyper personalized. 95% of your visitors are not going to convert into a lead, a customer, prospect. They're not going to convert at all. And that's honestly, if you're lucky. In this industry, we see that being more like 99%, like 1% of people convert. And it's not that, all of your marketing sucks or that those visitors are all unqualified, they don't have the funds. It's just that they're not all a good fit for you and your practice. And personalization is going to lead to higher conversion. You want to hyper personalize your marketing messages to get more conversions. So one of the easiest ways to start is on your website. I still see so many websites going live every week, even ones that our team creates where people don't have a niche audience and they want to be, that advisor to everyone. And so they just have a really generic message. I think it's okay if you have a roster full of clients already and you don't want to alienate anyone to not make, the website you've already built be hyper personalized, but it create a niche going forward, create landing pages, create emails that you can segment your current customer base and then provide personalized content in those other areas if you can't do it on the homepage. So you can personalize a couple different ways. Ones that we see working really well are things like, what job title does someone have? So if everybody that you focus on is a physician or a dentist or a real estate investor. It can also be based on their geography, right? So your clients that are all in Southern California might have certain things on their mind versus somebody who's got clients in Missouri. And then also people's behaviors. So one of the things that I'm really excited about for 2020 is being able to look at what content individual people consume and then send them additional content or messaging based upon their past behaviors. So if you see that Sam Smith has read everything you've ever sent him about Social Security, but nothing you sent him about, tax planning, then what is his concern, what he's thinking about right now. And that is where you have the best chance to convert him in the future or to keep him a happy client if he is one already. So what you want to personalize are these 4 things. Any of your websites or landing pages, your email, all of the content that you're pushing out, and then your ads, of course. So let's talk about the ones that are most salient here. So number 1 would be website. So here's just a few different examples to show you. When somebody lands on your homepage, they should be able to immediately get a sense of who you work with, what that target group is, right? So up at the top there, we have personal finance for immigrants. Down here, financial life planning for United pilots. If you were to go and click on the blog or the learn or the resources tabs of any of these, all of the blog posts that these folks are writing are also hyper specific to that audience. Another example that I loved is this real life planning. So this is a lady who specializes in financial planning services for real estate agents. So when you land on her page, she has this where financial planning meets real estate. And then if you go down to these different boxes, you can see she makes it really easy. What do you want to do? What do you want to learn? Do you want to grow your real estate portfolio? Do you want to get started with investing? Do you want to build a solid foundation for the future? So she's speaking in their language. People who land here are going to know that she understands what's going on in their head and is going to be a good fit for them. If you don't have a specific demographic, there's also some fun tricks you can do to at least make your language stick out and be unique. So here's an example of a site where they have this great image. This is if you kind of scroll down their homepage where it says, "You're not like everyone else and neither are your finances," right? And they have this woman in this really unique headpiece, and they talk about how no one is alike and, the uniqueness of each person they work with. And it goes along with the other elements of their branding. So think about the words and the language that you're using, and that's going to be most enticing to the person that you are working with. Okay. So everybody was talking about in the chat what they're most excited to learn. I'm just looking through those really quickly here. I'm seeing a lot of people asking and saying that they're most excited about video and different kinds of automation. So we're going to dive in next here to, most of you got the website down, which is great. Let's talk about email, because email is one that we still see many, many people struggling with. They don't have a good solution. So we're going to talk about that next. So with email, there's a few things that I want you to keep in mind. Number one, when it comes to personalization, use people's first names. So when you send an email, saying something like, Samantha, here's your X, Y, or Z, right? Or, hi, Samantha, in 2020, we're going to see, so just addressing the person by their first name if you're using a service like a MailChimp to automate your email. You also want to personalize the subject line as much as you possibly can, and also who it's coming from. So instead of just having it be from Russell Wealth or, Lion Investments, you should have it say something like Samantha at Lion Investments or Samantha at Russell Wealth. Whoever is going to be the person from your team that's that sender name, they should have all the emails coming from them to any of the clients that they're currently working with or the prospects that they're engaging, versus, kind of having it come from different people all the time. So you want to establish one point of contact and have all the communication come from that one person. I really am excited, again, to see people start segmenting their list much more granularly. So here's an example of an email, that can be in the inbox that says your company offers a 401k, now what, right? And then they have to click to read more. This is actually an example from our platform coming out in February called Lead Pilot. If you haven't heard about it, we'll share more at the end of the session today. But, being able to send somebody something to say, okay, Samantha works for a company, she's a young professional. We're going to send her information about best strategies for maximizing your 401k. This email is not a great email to send if you're trying to target someone who's 5 years away from retirement, right? They should be getting information about retirement strategies and tax saving strategies or healthcare in retirement. And so being able to segment your list by age, by their occupation, what they've formally read before is all going to be hyper helpful to both them and you, and you're going to see your open rates increase substantially. So here's just some examples that I've seen people utilize. A really popular one is by age, because age definitely typically correlates with where people are on their journey, retirement journey. So, putting people that are 60 and above on one list and 45 to 59.9 on another list, right? And if you have your clients' birthdays in your CRM, it's very easy to then go and update that, once a year to be able to get those ages, or if it integrates with your platform to have it sync. You can also do it by occupation or interest. So there was an advisor I worked with who he had this really big collection of clients on his roster that were all fly fishermen, and they were really into the sport. They actually had shared his name amongst themselves, and he'd gotten a lot of clients that way. And so he had a lot of content that he would share them that had nothing to do with financial planning or taxes, but that was just about awesome fly fisherman content, and he only sent it to that segment of people, right? And they're going to be much more excited to read his emails knowing that sometimes it's going to be about fly fishing. So think about how you can segment your audience and get really personalized content in their hands. If you don't currently use a automation tool to make this easier for you, or your compliance limits it, or you don't have the budget, fear not, because I'm here to tell you, you can even just do it from your regular email client, right? So here's an example of an email you could type up. Maybe you have a bunch of clients who all have kids in college, and you wrote a blog post about the top 10 money mistakes college students make. Here's a great example of something I would send, right? Hey, hope you're staying warm. I know the semester is coming to a close. Wanted to share this article with you. If you think it could help someone your son, feel free to forward it, right? So just something fun. You can think of lots of different ways you could do this with content that you're creating, but writing a piece like that, you don't want to just blanket send it out to every single person on your client roster, especially if you have a firm with multiple advisors serving multiple demographics, right? So that's some really simple ways that you can personalize email, but they really can go a long way in getting more people to engage with those emails. Now, when it comes to your personalizing your blogs, just a couple quick tips. you're going to be blogging and it's going to live on your website. So of course, anyone who lands there is going to see it. But again, if you've already honed in on a niche, then your blog posts should just reinforce that niche that you already have. So if you focus on working with physicians and doctors, a blog post like this would be really, really great to include, right? If you are like CL Sheldon and company and you focus on the military, then having a blog post like this would be really great. One quick tip that I always recommend is that you structure as many times as you can the blog post as a question, because that's typically how people search, right? Somebody who's retiring from the military might search something like, retiring from the military, what to do with my TSP, and CL Sheldon's blog post is going to have a much better chance of showing up. So the more you can think about what questions people are asking and then just literally turn that into your blog post title, the better. Okay, just going to go through and see if we have any questions before we move on to the next section. Let's see. Ken, I love the person. I'm not the only person who says fear not. Thank you, Ken. I'm glad to hear that too. Let's just see. Can MailChimp run reports by client interest? You can in MailChimp create lists and then segments of lists. You do need to kind of create that manually. I would say that there's really no system out there that I know of who is going to be able to put people on lists just based on what they've read. You're going to have to tell the system what they're interested in, but as you get that information and you put them on the list, it makes it a little bit easier. Someone asked, can we create segments and lists in Lead Pilot? Yeah, yes. In Lead Pilot, you can create segments and lists. And what's great about that is that we also give you the data in Lead Pilot of who read what. So you could see, okay, Amanda Larson has read, all of these emails. She's clicked on them, opened them, clicked inside them on the topic about funding, your children's college education. So I'm going to get a general sense of what she's interested in, but I can see that all of the emails I delivered to her about Social Security were delivered, but she never opened them, right? So it will give you both what they did and didn't open and what they clicked on, which makes it a lot easier. Okay, so let's move on to the second prediction. So the second prediction is that reviews and recommendations will become even more important to winning clients. So when I talk about reviews, I'm talking about online reviews, like a review that you get on Facebook or on Google. And recommendations, I'm talking about recommendations on social media. So let's talk about both of those in a little bit more detail. According to a recent survey conducted by Edelman, 77% of the consumers they reviewed said that online reviews are deal breakers or deciding factors in whether or not they choose a product or service. And I think all of us can speak to this. If you search for a local plumber online and they have 15 one-star reviews, you're probably going to go and look for another person, right? And so historically, I've talked about this before, advisors have stayed far away from encouraging reviews because it's been a compliance no-no. But what happened is a few years ago, Google made it so that anyone can leave a review for any business online that is on Google Maps, which is pretty much every business. So if you have a location on Google Maps that can be looked up, anyone can leave a review for your business. Same thing with Facebook. Anyone can leave a review on your Facebook profile. So because of this, it's become kind of a thorn in the side for a lot of folks who are saying to their advisors who are in compliance, you can't have reviews, but then there's no way to stop these reviews from happening. So this is just an example of Define Financial. Taylor Schultz, I hope I'm saying his last name right. He's an advisor out in San Diego. He has 8 reviews that you can see here, right, listed on his page. Reviews not only matter to the consumer, they also play a big, big factor in your search engine ranking. So we see a huge correlation in the SEO community between how many reviews someone has, if they have any reviews at all, and how high their site is ranking on search. But additionally, it's just a best practice. If someone is getting referred to your firm and you have some great reviews, they're going to be much more likely to be like, okay, I'm going to take these other people's word for it. So in order to stay compliant right now, these are the 3 things that you want to make sure that you do and don't do. You never, ever want to comment on any of the reviews, either good or bad, which I know is horrible because someone could leave you a scathing review and you can't say anything back. But in order to be compliant at this time, that's what you want to do. Never republish any of the reviews or snippets of the reviews as testimonials, and never ask for reviews in writing. The SEC is, many of you may have heard, has a proposal in place to go back and look specifically at how advisor testimonials and reviews are being used. And we think in 2020, we're going to see legislation changing about what this looks like. And I really think that they already understand that anyone can leave a review and there's nothing anyone can do about it. And they're going to be much more likely to be lenient in terms of allowing advisors to have reviews. So keep that in the back of your mind as we, move forward. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Recommendations. And someone just said that you can turn off recommendations on Facebook. So recommendations and reviews are two separate things. As I said, anyone can leave a review. A recommendation is more of, giving a firm a thumbs up to your community. LinkedIn, you can get recommendations and people can endorse you. And all of those are different, though, from the recommendations that I'm talking about. So when I'm talking about recommendations, I'm specifically thinking of Facebook, and they have a looking for recommendations feature where people can write that they're looking for X, and then Facebook will post it for you. So here's two examples I just pulled offline. In both cases, these ladies are saying they're looking for an advisor, and you can see in both instances over 30 people comment with links to advisors that they want to recommend to her. So even though clients may not be proactively walking around and talking about you all the time, or posting about you on social media, if they're happy and somebody, asks who they use, there's a very high correlation that they will share your name. And you want to be in that list of, people that are commented on, because not only is Patricia or Bonnie going to see that, but everybody that they're connected to is also going to have the opportunity to see your name, right? So it's huge visibility for you. So what I want you to do when you're thinking about how do you get more recommendations is really just think about, do you already have social media profiles? It's a lot easier if somebody is, you can see like in blue here, when this Jennifer girl wrote Lisa, she's tagging and linking Lisa's name. So now if we were online and we clicked Lisa, it would take us to her Facebook page. It's easier to do that than to copy and paste a URL in. So just make sure you have your social profiles set and up to date so that people can easily tag you in these recommendations. Okay, moving on to number 3. Okay, just see if there's any other questions coming through. I haven't seen any others. If you have questions about those, let us know. Oh, Charles, thanks for pointing out the, the spelling error. Appreciate that. We will get that fixed. Okay, next let's move on to video, which I know a lot of you have had questions about. So many of you have emailed me directly after seeing the videos that I do every week for 20 over 10. I am so bullish on video. I think video is going to continue to produce the highest ROI of any content type, dollar for dollar. And the reason being is it's incredibly easy and cheap to produce. It's not time intensive to produce. It's, I personally think, really easy to get through compliance, because the compliance person can watch the video in 2 or 3 minutes without having to read a long, article. You can upload it to a YouTube, get the transcript, send it over to compliance if you need to. And then once you actually go and post it, what's so, incredible is that if you're creating these videos on your smartphone and you're not spending a bunch of time and money to create them, but you're making them very authentic, people connect with that authenticity, and they they get the most likes and shares of any other content type. So 72% of businesses say that video has improved their conversion rate. We certainly see that to be the case here. And watching a short video to get a sense of what a business can do for you is a huge way that people learn about products and services. So if you don't have like what we call an explainer video on your website, you definitely want to get one added. It's a huge way to quickly and easily tell somebody what you can do for them. But additionally, what we're talking about today is the kind of video you see in your social media feeds on YouTube, which is constant video about a variety of topics, like a video blog per se, right? So here's an example. Should you really delay Social Security benefits? And we have Mike Frontera here from Retirement Theory talking about this question, right? He's recording it in his office. He's going to upload it to YouTube and then just copy the link right into his blog here. So I suggest these being 2 to 5 minutes to make them really easily digestible, consumable. We see a lot of people, you know, tailoring off honestly at the 2-minute mark. So 2 minutes is really ideal, but it can be hard to delve into a topic. And if you do a good job, you can keep people's attention longer. I really believe in sharing them either weekly or bi-weekly to be a really great strategy. We found when we moved to every Monday, our engagement rate went up, our subscribers have gone up, and the number of leads we're getting from the video has gone up. These are a few tips from me just from doing video all of the time. Always look into the camera. So I actually find it easier. So I have my phone here. Instead of, you know, recording it where the back of the camera is what I'm looking at, I record it so that I can see myself in the camera. And honestly, it sounds weird, but watching yourself as you record, I find makes it easier to maintain eye contact than if you're just looking at the little camera itself. So weird tip, but it works. Always start with a hook. So instead of saying, hi, I'm Samantha from Retirement Theory, and today I want to talk about, you'll see a lot of people won't even get through the first 5 seconds. Start with a hook. So something like, did you know 75% of people do X? Or what do you think is the #1 reason we don't see enough people saving for retirement? Or ask a question, give a stat, have a quote, something that will compel them right up front. Then once you say that, you can say, I'm Samantha Russell from 20 over 10, and today that's what we're going to talk about. Or today we're going to cover X. So you start with the hook, then you introduce yourself, and then you move on, right? And if you do it that way, honestly, that's the way I do it. You don't even need to edit the video. I don't do any editing. I just start with the hook, then introduce myself, and then move on to the meat of the content. Never forget to tell people to subscribe at the end of the video. If you go back and you watch some of my early videos, Amanda, I'm sure, is laughing. I used to never remember to tell people to subscribe. And not doing that really does push down your total number of people that will subscribe to the videos. You can also, when you add it to your blog, include another call to action beyond subscribe, right? So if you're putting it on your blog, you can say, you know, read through our blog post, and at the end, if you want our full checklist on Social Security benefits, go ahead and contact us. And then you can have a little, you know, button at the bottom that says get our Social Security benefits checklist. So you can have more than one call to action, but just don't ever forget to encourage people to subscribe to the video. When you are adding these kinds of videos to your blogs or your landing pages, there's a few tips to keep in mind. Never set it to autoplay. If you're using 20 over 10 and embedding the video or linking the video from YouTube or Vimeo, it will not autoplay. So we got you covered there. Keep it focused on just one topic. So the more granular and specific you can be, going back to that point earlier about personalization, the more you're going to connect with somebody in that moment. And you can also offer them much more practical solutions by focusing in on just one thing. You also want to break up larger topics into smaller little videos, right? So today we have this larger webinar about all these different areas. If I was going to talk about this in smaller videos for our YouTube channel, I would break them up into my predictions by these different topics. Always transcribe the video for compliance and for SEO. So you can see here all of the text on the page is what he's saying in the video, but you want to go ahead and put it below the video because the search engine cannot crawl the video. So they need the text on the page to crawl it. And then of course, don't forget the call to action at the end. This may pertain to some of you and some of you not. Does anybody want a refresher on how to add the YouTube videos or videos from wherever you're uploading them first into 20 over 10? I'd be happy to do that really quick. I see some people saying yes. Okay, so let me do that really quick. It's very, very easy. So whatever you have, wherever you want to put it on your site, honestly, the video can go. So you're just going to find the place you want to put it. And I'm first just going to go to YouTube and grab a URL. So you go to YouTube. Did you guys see what I did there? Sorry, I did that really fast. Let me just show you one more time. So you go to YouTube, and whatever, you know, link that you want to share, you're going to find that video first. So here's our YouTube page. Again, just another plug. You can subscribe so you can get a video every week. But you're going to find the video that you want to share. You're going to click on it, and then up here at the top, you're just going to copy and paste that URL. So once you get it, you're going to find where you want to put it on the page. So in this instance, let's say I wanted to put it right here. I'm going to hover over this text box area and then click on that insert video icon. And then I'm going to paste the URL in. And there you go. The video's right there. Now this one, it makes sense in most cases to put on your homepage, but for a blog, here's where you would go. So you're going to come over to your blog. You're going to click on the little A, which is manage posts. You're going to click on the post that you want to add it to. And then same exact mindset. You're going to choose wherever it is that you want it to go. You're going to select that little insert video icon and you're going to paste in the URL. And now the video is there. So you'll notice that when I'm doing it here and the parameters of the whole page, the video is nice and big. When I did it on the earlier page where we were in a sidebar, the video was as small as the sidebar. So our system will automatically make the video the size of whatever the place on the page you want to put it is, which is really helpful. So hopefully that was helpful to all of you. If you have any other questions about adding video, let us know. That's the easiest way to do it. So wherever you have that video link from YouTube, from Vimeo, you're just going to copy and paste it and add it to the page that way. This is going to keep your site moving really fast so that you don't have to wait for the video to load in order for it to, your site, to load as well. So it keeps your site speed a lot higher. Any other questions about video that I might have missed? Does Vimeo offer transcribe? You know what? I'm not sure about that. Amanda, I don't know if you know the answer to that. I know oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was actually just Googling it to see, because we don't use Vimeo, we use YouTube, and I know YouTube offers it. I'm not seeing much for Vimeo besides captioning and subtitles.
Okay.
But perhaps you could somehow pull those subtitles into.
Yeah. Okay. The other one that a lot of people will ask about is getting those captions on the videos. And for that, when you're sharing on social media, and for that we use this tool called Headliner. Let's see here. So this is Headliner, and you would just go here and you can get your different captions. It looks like, I guess, Amanda, they do have a video transcript in Headliner as well. So this is what we use. If you see any of our videos that we're sharing, that's how we do it. The other really great thing with Headliner is you can do some really cool things for your page, let's say like on Instagram, or just how you want them to appear. So you see here this video, how it's got like our logo and then the title. That was all done in Headliner. So Headliner will allow you to format the videos so that they appear really nicely in social media feeds. And they have, I believe, a free plan and then some cheap pricing plans. So that's a great one to use if you're looking for help with those kinds of things. Okay, any other questions about video? Somebody asked like where we would suggest the hosting. I always say I would prefer you host over at YouTube over anything else, because it's the second largest search engine after Google. So you're basically just getting a double bang for your buck, because people can stumble across your videos on YouTube in addition to just searching things or what you share on social media. So that's why I always suggest YouTube. I wouldn't say, if you're recording an explainer video for your homepage, don't embed a YouTube video on your homepage, because it doesn't look as professional. But for any of your blogs or your social posts, YouTube would definitely be the #1 place I would suggest. Okay. Yes, somebody was asking about automation. We're going to talk more about automation a little bit farther down here. Okay. So let's move on to social media. So another prediction that we have is that businesses that post daily on social media and use stories on Facebook, on YouTube if they're using it, or Instagram, are going to have the highest chance of social media success. So if you're not sure what a story is, if you log into Instagram and you see those little circles at the top and you can click them and they disappear after a set number of seconds, that's a story. Let's see a show of hands. How many of you knew what a story was already? I'm not sure how popular it is with advisors right now. Okay, so lots of hands raised. Great. So that's what a story is. And the reason that they're gaining popularity is that, honestly, number one, it's kind of the lazy man's way of consuming content. So if I were to start by clicking on that Falcon Wealth Advisor logo and watch their story, I would watch their story, and then when it was done, the next story from Nina there would show up. And then when that story was done, the next one from HubSpot would show up. So I don't have to do any scrolling. I don't have to do any clicking. It just continues to play until I'm done watching. We're seeing a lot of people stop even reading the posts in the feed and on Instagram and just do the stories. Now, I know a lot of you are not on Instagram because of compliance purposes, but you can upload stories to Instagram and then have them appear on Facebook, or you can post to Facebook stories, which is called Facebook Watch, natively as well. YouTube also came out with their own version of stories recently. So again, stories is just a really great way to get some quick engagement and increase traffic to your website. So here's some, ways that you might think about it. So here's two examples. This is Kinetic Financial Planning. This is Elliott Financial. Two different RIAs that are using stories successfully. So in this one, do you feel financially confident? Asking people a question, and then they can say yes or no. And then maybe on the next story, they have something, when this one's done, that says, here's our 5 tips to make you feel more financially confident this year. So first you ask the question, and then you give them the content. With Elliott Financial here, how I feel when a client reaches their goals, just something fun to be able to share, but they're not at the same time putting a testimony or anything out there. So just celebrating their success and the client's success at the same time. So using these like GIFs and these stickers are all just a fun, interactive way that's way more exciting for people than your normal financial, blog post per se. One other tip, Instagram is also a great way to just create some really interesting visuals. So, if you are allowed to use it, I, always will suggest too, you can always create things in Instagram, download them, and then reshare them on other platforms as well, because it's so easy to create really fun imagery in Instagram. With social media, one of the things that we see besides stories is more and more people using social media advertising. So you can see here where social media spend has been in terms of ads over the last few years, and where it's predicted to be going in 2020, and it's just going a steep uphill. One of the things that I will typically say is post organically. So that means don't pay for posts. So post organically, look and see what your highest performing posts are, and then boost the ones that already have really good engagement. So I just want to show you kind of how we do this here in 20/10. So we have this little spreadsheet here that Amanda put together for me. So you can see a bunch of the different ads that we have on the right, what the creative was, what the campaign was, what platform we put it on, when it was started, when it was complete, how many impressions we got, what we spent. You can see our total spend. It's not high for any of these. But in a lot of these cases, here's a video that I recorded about meta descriptions, and it's related to SEO, and then we just boosted that post. Or I did this video up here about how if you have a really bad website, it could actually be hindering how many new clients you're getting without you even knowing it, and how many assets under management you end up managing. And we boosted that on YouTube, and it ended up costing us 3 cents per view, right? So very minimal budgets. We spent $110 to pick up a lot more subscribers, get a lot more views, and get some really great leads. So creating a spreadsheet like this is a fantastic way to track, but I always suggest create the content organically first, and then go in and boost. Boost means make it paid in any of the platforms. So you create the social post, you put it on Facebook, and then you can boost it. And Facebook's really great. They will tell you when you have a post that's performing better than any of your other posts, and they will say, do you want to boost it? And you can choose a set dollar amount, and it could be $40 a day, whatever. The nice thing is if you've already got it approved by compliance, it makes it even easier, right? So if you got the original post, the video, everything approved, you post it organically, then when you're going to pay it, you're just putting dollars behind something already works. YouTube, honestly, we see getting the highest ROI for the shortest or the least dollar spend right now. Like I said, like 3 cents per click. But all of those are good options when it comes to, increasing social media awareness. So just a few other tips. I guess I already shared those. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. So interactive content, this is my next prediction, is going to become easier to create, and those that do will collect more leads. So what do I mean by interactive content? Interactive content is things that it's not just reading an article. So it's taking a quiz or answering a poll or, looking at an infographic. I would say infographics and videos, some people call them interactive content, some people don't, but it's a different kind of experience than just reading something, right? So here's an example of a piece of infographic that is available in our Lead Pilot app. And this firm, Outright Financial Strategies, they've used it, and you can see that in Lead Pilot, any of the content that's created. What's also really nice is that it comes out on these landing pages that reinforce you as the advisor with your picture, the little blurb about you. So as people are scrolling through and interacting with the content, your name, your image, and ways to get in touch with you, your calls to action, are always top of mind on the page. So there's already a lot of firms that are making this really easy for you guys that you might be using, right? So Riskalyze, for instance, has their very well-known risk score assessment. eMoney has a lead capture tool. Asset Map has a build your own asset map tool, which you can see down here. So I always say start out with tech you might already be using and check and see what they might have that you potentially use. Contact our team. If the tech company that you work with is offering something, we've probably helped somebody else put it on our website. So we'd be happy to help you do that. And in most of these cases, because these tools are always integrated with Redtail and Wealthbox and all the others, as you take the quiz or, as a client takes the quiz or completes the assessment, their info goes into that particular tech tool, as well as will get synced to your CRM if you have it set up that way. So that's a really great way to get more leads. Quizzes are one of my favorites on the horizon. We are going to be having quizzes included in Lead Pilot in Q1, so coming out really soon here. And with quizzes, 5 questions to get people to answer some questions. And then in order to get the output or the answer, they have to give you their email address, right? You can create these right now in things like Typeform or Lead Quizzes. Those are 2 platforms. So here's an example of one of our clients, Eastern Planning. And when you're on your website, you can go and do this aging parents readiness quiz. Your parents are getting older. Are you prepared for what happens next, right? So then you click get started and you take the quiz, and then they receive the information that you filled out. So I love quizzes because we all love to take quizzes. We all love to be self-analyzed and find out information about ourselves. And you're getting more than just someone's name as well. And, asking someone 5 questions and then giving them an answer is a lot easier for people than, saying, here, get our, 10-page ebook. I think people are much more likely, and I'm doing some kind of background research right now to figure out if my assessment is true, but from everything I can tell, if you have something like a 1-page checklist, you're going to get a lot more downloads than if you have a 10-page ebook. And the same thing with quizzes. I think quizzes are going to be even more popular going forward. So again, if you are using Lead Pilot already, which some of you are, which is great, we, just in case you didn't know, we currently have early access for Lead Pilot open for 20 over 10 customers. So Amanda can put in the chat box how you can learn more about that at a super discounted rate. For everyone else, it will be available in February. But currently there are infographics in there already, video already, and then those interactive components like quizzes coming in February. And with any of these, what's great is that you can use them as is. You can also completely customize the landing page that they're on to make it, again, hyper-personalized for your audience. Okay. Any other questions about that before we move on? I don't think so. Okay, cool. So we will move on to marketing, a little bit more about marketing automation. So when it comes to marketing automation, what we're really talking about is creating a system that you don't have to manually do things, because we know that when that is the case, things slip through the cracks and people don't get the follow-up that they need. For example, a lot of you who are here on this webinar got the invitation through email, right? We set out one email initially, and then we set out another one, and then we set out a third one. If you don't have a way to make that easy for yourself, you're not going to send out more than one email. And yet the number of emails that you send directly correlates with how many people sign up for your webinar. So you need to be able to automate some of these things so that just because you have a busy day or a client, shows up or has a problem, that it all of a sudden, it doesn't get done. Some of the ones that I see being really popular for this year are social media scheduling. So again, you saw I mentioned posting at least once a day. Well, that's really time consuming. So being able to have a platform where you can schedule out your posts for the month. Email marketing, being able to set emails to drip on people over time. Also, with your calendar app on your website, so that you can funnel people to it and then they book directly on your calendar. So many of our 20 over 10 advisors have now have calendars on their website for booking. If you don't, our research found this year in a digital marketing effectiveness survey that having a calendar link on your homepage of your website was a direct correlation with the number of bookings that you got. So it seems almost too good to be true, but it's that simple. Putting a calendar link on the homepage increases the number of people that book on your calendar to give you more of a pipeline. So just simplifying all of this to put it in one place, right? We know that that's really important. Again, we really think that there hasn't been that many great tools allowing advisors to automate things while also customizing them and personalizing them. So as I mentioned earlier, you want to be able to automate, but you also still want to personalize. And up until now, really the only tools available to advisors that would automate things for you, you kind of had to just stand back and let it happen. And you have no way to personalize it. Well, we know the personalization is important for ROI, so you need to do both. And that's really why we built Lead Pilot, which we're so excited about. But a few things you can do right now that also will help. The first one is chatbots, so with automation. So imagine if every person that came to your website got a little welcome message from you and felt like you were personally welcoming them and had the opportunity to ask you questions right then and there. Do you think that you would capture more of those people? Yes, you will. I know this because when we instituted live chat on our website, we saw a direct correlation. And all of the studies out there show that this is the case. I like this example because there's a lot of options out there for you for chat. This is actually Facebook Messenger. So, you don't have to recreate the wheel. 63% of people would consider messaging an online chatbot to communicate with a business. And we see that being the case. For every person that comes on, we say probably about 30% of them will send a chat coming through. Now, a lot of you might say, well, I don't have time to be there all day answering these chats. And that's okay, because that's where what's called a chat bot comes in. So with a chat bot, somebody can say like, hi, welcome, how are you? And then they'll say, what are you here for today? And the bot will give them a list of options. So in your case, it might say something like, I'm just here to get more information, or I'd like to schedule an appointment. If they click, I'd like to schedule an appointment, then your calendar link can all of a sudden show up and they can book. If it says, I'm just looking to get more information, you could have something preloaded that says, great, I'm unfortunately not available to chat with you right now, but here's our FAQ page, and you can shoot me an email here if you have other questions, right? So you can create these bots that give people a series of options, and then the customer clicks on different things, which leads them down the path. So these are all different tools you can use. So Facebook Messenger doesn't have this kind of a thing, but it does connect to your Facebook account. So a lot of people get notifications from Facebook already. So it's an easy way to do that. But what you see here, this is all available from companies like Drift or Intercom. So you can integrate those directly with your website. So again, live chat is a simpler tool where it just notifies you that someone's there and wanting to chat. A chat bot is giving them those options back and forth where they can ask you questions, and then you're funneling them to different places. So again, it's automating the amount of time it takes them to go from just being interested to learn more to booking on your calendar. I'd love to see a show of hands. How many people here already use live chat on their websites? If you do, I'd love to see it. And if you don't, in the chat, in our chat box, maybe let us know, do you not use it because of compliance? Because you thought, I don't have time to be sitting there all day answering, the chats. What would be a reason, or I never considered it? What would be a reason why you never added it to your site? Oh, good. Some people, so we had about 5 or 6 people raise their hand. Okay, a lot of people are saying no, they never considered or didn't know it was an option. So again, the correlation, think of it this way. If someone's coming to your website at 11 o'clock at night, they run a business, they're busy all the time, it's like anything else. You want to capture people where they are and when they're most attentive. So think of your own purchasing behavior, right? If you're online and you want to make a purchase and you put something in your cart, if you buy it right then and there, great. If you don't, what's the likelihood you're going to go back and buy it later? The percentage goes down over time. And it's the same thing with these people that are researching you. You want to capture them and get them on your calendar as much as you can in the moment that they're investigating you. And so these chat bots really, really help that happen. And, there's a huge correlation then in the number of bookings you're getting on your calendar. So it's live chat when you're there and a chat bot when you're out of office. Yes, basically. People are saying they were worried about responding. So again, you can set up these different messages. And if you guys go to any big website, you could kind of play around with it and see. So even at 20 over 10, if you were to go there tonight at 6 p.m. and you click on our little live chat bot on the bottom, and you'll see that a series of questions is asked of you, and it kind of seems like somebody's there. And then it will say, oh, it's beyond our office hours. What do you need help with? So that's a good way to kind of test it out, is go to some websites and look and see. But they're really easy to set up, and they really do promote lead capture. The last one I want to talk about that we got some questions about is retargeting. So retargeting, if you're not familiar, is just, let's say you go to a website. In this case, we have Bluehost. You're doing some digging about what Bluehost is, and then all of a sudden you go to New York Times or Yahoo, and you see an ad for Bluehost there. This has happened to all of us. It's not that Bluehost, is a magician. It's that they have a little tracking pixel on their website, and they track they track the IP addresses of those who visit, and then they can go to a company like AdRoll or there's some other ones, and you upload those. The way that it works is once you put the tracking code in, then you connect that with your AdRoll account, and then AdRoll can track all of those IP addresses, and they can deliver the ads to folks. So here's another example. My husband and I and our kids were looking at going on a vacation to the Lido Beach Resort in Florida. And all of a sudden, after I'd been on their website a couple times, I was on Facebook, and this ad, or this retargeting ad, popped up, right? People are 70% more likely to convert when they're retargeted. And again, it just goes back to that saying, you want to meet people where they are. So even if you're not going to retarget in this month or the next month, or you don't really know where to get started, I still suggest creating an account with a company like AdRoll. And I'm pretty sure you can start getting the tracking code, get an account set up, and it's either a minimal expense or free until you start actually delivering the ads. And you can get the tracking code and start tracking people, because it's not retroactive. So if people are visiting your website right now, and then you don't start retargeting till March, and you didn't have the tracking code in there, you won't be able to re-deliver ads to all those people, right? So it starts tracking them from the day you put the tracking code in. So again, people go to your website, and then they're on Facebook, they're on YouTube, they're on the New York Times. You want to deliver more information and remind them, hey, I was checking out this financial planning firm. And when we think about budgets, you can do this honestly for a really reasonable cost. I think through AdRoll, Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's as low as $10 a day. So you could try it out, see what kind of results you get, and then suspend it, if you wanted to. But it's a great way to, again, remind people to stay in their feed, stay aware, keep them aware of your company. So we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for everyone who's stayed on so far. I'm going to share a few more things, but just wanted to say, in terms of you know, what your quick marketing wins for 2020 would be. These would be my top 3 tips. Start incorporating that interactive content, the video, the infographics, quizzes this year. Update your website to include live chat and video, and personalize your messages as much as possible. So segment things, put people on drip marketing campaigns. One of the things we're really excited about with Lead Pilot is that you can set all different kinds of 60-day campaigns. That's like a drag and drop. So you can say, day 1, I want to post this article about retirement to LinkedIn. And day 3, I want to send an email to everyone on my 16 older list about, you know, 10 things to consider before, you know, setting your retirement date with your company. And then day 5, I want to post to Facebook, you know, 5 tips from couples who have retired and are still happy being home together all day. You know, whatever it is, we have content in the Lead Pilot library that you can use, but you can also add your own content, so you can make it really hyper-personalized, these campaigns. But you can set them up. They'll run for 60 days. And as the leads come into Lead Pilot, you get information about each and every single one of them, so then you can follow up. So that personalization is so incredibly important. This is my information. 20over10.com obviously is our website. There's my LinkedIn again, if you're interested in connecting there. If you have questions for our team that we did not get a chance to answer today, you want to go to marketing@20over10.com. Well, email us there and we will be happy to answer them. And if you are interested in learning more about Lead Pilot, maybe just put in the Q&A box to us your email address, and we will email you to set up a private one-on-one demo, since we're running out of time right now. We'll be happy to do that. So, the 60-day campaigns are coming in February for those who are asking. So yeah, if you want to learn more about Lead Pilot and how we can help you with your marketing automation, just go to the Q&A box and give us your email address. When Lead Pilot does go live in February, this is what the pricing will be. So $249 a month. For anybody who's getting started earlier during the early access, there is a very steep discount. And for 20 over 10 clients who use it as well, it's $125 a month or $1,200 a year. And then if you aren't a 20 over 10 client yet, but you decide you want to be in our whole ecosystem and have everything work together, there's a 30% off discount of your Lead Pilot account for using both the website and the Lead Pilot platform. So hopefully that answers all your questions. Again, it is a pleasure to be able to talk with you all today. I hope that this was helpful to you in thinking about some things that you should consider for the coming year and what we see on the radar. And if you have any ideas of things you'd like us to dive in deeper on, in another webinar, please let us know. Thank you, everyone, and have a really happy holiday and Happy New Year.